You want me to stand up?
No, that's fine. Totally fine. Okay, so the Olympics are almost over, and that's a sad thing. But so how do you think they have affected our city? Like, I know it's been a tremendous influence, and it's brought a lot of tourism in. But how, in the long run, do you think they're going to affect the city?
Well, I think that the first thing that we started back in July of 2001 when we launched this visit at the Winter Olympics, trying to make sure they were Canada's Olympics. So I think it's had a huge impact on Canada as a country. I think it's united the country. It's unified us. It's made us recognize what we can do when we work together and we pull for one another. That lifts us all up. I think in terms of the city, there was a time there where people said there was no spirit in Vancouver. There's a lot of spirit in Vancouver. I think people have loved the city. The world's got to know Vancouver. We tend to think here that everyone knows where we live. In fact, they don't. But today, as of today, almost half of the people that live in the world have actually seen Vancouver, British Columbia, and Canada through the media. Literally billions of people have watched us, and that will have a huge impact on us in the long term. And of course, this is probably the largest economic development opportunity we'll ever have in the city. We've had 70 meetings with new technology companies, new energy companies, tourism companies, venture capital companies, forestry companies, mining companies, all of them thinking they want to invest in BC.
Awesome. So have you actually been attending events, or just watching them on TV?
I've actually had a chance to get to some of the events, and even the ones up there, it was great. This is another sign of success for the Vancouver Olympics. I was in the Athens Olympics, I was at the Turin Olympics and the Beijing Olympics. In every one of those Olympics, there was a comment that, there wasn't that many people in the stands, and where were the spectators? Our spectators have been there across the board. The curling is probably one of the best curling venues in the history of the sport. Obviously, Canada Hockey Place is just explosive every time either the women or the men are there playing hockey. The downhill courses have been packed. The sliding center has been packed. So this has been a great spectator event. But quite honestly, the thing I've loved the most is people downtown. Is people with their kids and their families coming and looking at the torch, coming to Robson Square and enjoying that, waiting in line patiently for their shot at the zip line. All of those things are things that I think will give a life to the city and a long-term legacy to the city and the province and the country.
Yeah, for sure. So I know that the IOC has been working really hard and VANOC to make these really green games. So what do you think about that? Do you agree with making them green?
Absolutely. These are the greenest games ever. We've actually, British Columbia and VANOC have been working together to try and make sure that that's the case. VANOC has done an exceptional job with that. I think we should always remember that this has been done by literally thousands of people from across the country and around the world. That's the VANOC team. And of course, if you see someone in a blue jacket, you know that team. That's the face of our Olympics. All of us are trying to make sure these are the greenest, best Olympics for athletes, best Olympics for people, and the greenest Olympics ever.
Awesome, thank you.
Do you want to can I ask you a question too?
Sure.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tanya. I'm also from the Students Live program.
Hi, Tanya.
So I was just wondering, since you've seen it from the very beginning, as soon as they voted, I mean, we weren't really old enough to understand what was going on.
I'm not sure I was old enough to understand.
Right. So how was it? Has it been better than you expected? The success and.
This has exceeded everybody's expectations. VANOC has exceeded all their expectations in terms of licensing, in terms of broadcast rights. But for me, it's exceeded it. I came back from Turin and I watched the Winter Olympics and I said, I really want the city to feel the games, to feel like they're part of the games. You don't have to have a ticket to the hockey game to feel the Olympics. And it's totally exceeded my expectations. I've been down there on the weekends. I've been talking with people in the streets, talking to them, because I can't walk from one end of the block to the other. It probably takes an hour to do that, just because people are so excited and enthusiastic. All the provinces being here, sharing their excitement about the place that they live, and all of us sharing what's taking place with Canada. We wanted these to be Canada's games, and I saw a survey the other day that said that Canadians think that these have been done more to lift them up and unite them as a country than the Henderson hockey game in 1972, before you were born, in the 1967, Expo 67, before you were born, than the Canada-Russia hockey series. All of those things have been surpassed, and the other Olympics too. So I think these will always be known as Canada's Olympics, and British Columbians and Vancouverites should be proud of that.
Okay, and as well, so you were here. Like, I wasn't here for the Expo
Yeah.
86. So how is that different? Kind of than here. Like, was the energy different? How were people kind
Well,
of?
Expo was a very, very important time too. It was different because it was a 6-month event.
Right.
So it started in May and it ended in October. And it was one of those glorious summers when Vancouver just shines, right? So Expo lifted us up, gave us a new foundation that we can move forward from. And, I think it was really a seminal time in Vancouver's history. But I think the Olympics is going to lift up the country, not just Vancouver and British Columbia, but the country, as we recognize now, sort of as we move to the future, what we can do when we unite as a country, what we can do when Quebec is doing well and Saskatchewan's doing well and Newfoundland and British Columbia. We're all coming together as Canadians and pursuing our mutual dreams. This has always been a dream about Canada's Olympics. The federal government's been there, provincial government, private sector, volunteers, everyone have come together and made these Canada's Olympics. That's what we can do as a country as we go forward. So whether it's reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, whether it's building our economy, whether it's creating a new quality of life for young people in Canada, we can do all that. And sometimes it takes a while to get there. You do it step by step by step to get there. We did that in Bannock, incredible leadership from Jack Poole and John Furlong, the board and all the volunteers, and that's why this has been probably one of the most successful Olympics ever.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you so much.
you.
Thank you for your Campbell.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Sorry about my voice.
No
you.
problem.
Pretty sexy.